I'm Miss Danielle with Harlequin Jazz Band, and today on Wine Time, we will feature some wine facts for you.
Wine facts!
Answers to your questions.
Answers to questions!
As well as a review of the movie Girls in the Band and talk about women in jazz.
Women and jazz!
Wine fact number 1. A cork tease, which is something I didn't know existed, is somebody that constantly talks about opening a bottle of wine but never actually opens it. And don't you worry, because if there's a bottle of wine I don't want to open around you, I'm just not going to tell you about it. Wine fact number 2. In ancient Greece, the host or hostess would always taste the wine before serving to the guest to prove that the wine, in fact, was not poisonous to everybody else. So from that came the phrase, drink to your health. It's time for wine questions. And the first question is, what is my favorite thing to dip in my red wine? The answer? More red wine. Question number 2, what is my favorite wine to drink in the summer? While I may enjoy a nice dry white wine in the summer, I typically prefer beer, honestly, and that's okay. It's okay to like beer. Now it's time to review the DVD of The Girls in the Band. Now, I really did think that this was a great documentary. It was nice to watch. It had tons of female musicians just talking about their experiences, as well as a lot of clips and a lot of music in the background, which I appreciated. One of the things I initially noticed is just all of the hardship that the past female musicians had to go through, and I greatly appreciate that, being one myself, just from not knowing if they were going to get paid, to having to wear awful things to gigs because they were women, being pretty enough to go out and play, being told no because they weren't. Crazy things like that. They had to smile while playing instruments, because that's something that's easy to do, right? That's definitely easy. There were problems with women coming into bands because the males in the bands didn't think they could be male on tour, as in they couldn't mess around and do things without worry that the females would go back and report to their wives. Just the sheer number of musicians that were women that were recorded that I didn't know was shocking, because they're just not as high up as all the ones we do know. And that's not to downplay the fact that the ones I do know are great. They are. They're fantastic. But that doesn't mean that the women don't need to be talked about as well. Now, what we need to do to deal with this is to know them and to talk about them, to bring them up in conversation, to make sure that dancers know about them, they know who they're dancing to make sure that DJs play their music, all kinds of things. And just know who's behind you as a woman musician. It is not as difficult as it was before. There's no way. There was sexism as well as racism and just horrible experiences that they had to go through. It's not as hard, but there's still problems and we still have to work on it. So what we need to do is know these women, and if you're hiring people, think about women in jazz as well. Think about them coming into the bands. Do what you can to help. Make sure you're DJing female musicians as well. Make sure to share the female musicians that you know about. Again, not downplaying male musicians. They can also be great, but the ratio is just not acceptable. Each time on Wine Time, I will feature a female musician from now on, and you'll know more. And feel free to share that as well. And remember, if you have questions on Wine Time, feel free to go to harlequinjazz.com, fill out your questions, put them there, and I'd be happy to answer them. Have a great time, and I'll talk to you later.